And we are live from Ben's truck again.
But it's not 3 a.m. this time.
Yet. It is 12:40.
Yeah.
So
Shit.
We're doing good. We're doing good.
You know, making smart life choices, as usual.
Heading towards Tennessee tomorrow, so that's cool.
Well, you are.
It sucks that I'm heading towards Tennessee, but I won't be in Nashville for this card.
I know, right?
But
well, I'll be here in Michigan, working.
Working. Again.
Going to school.
It's okay, after this card, a couple weeks, and we go to Dallas for 211.
Oh, man.
Woo!
I can't keep getting my hopes up, though. It's like, gotta stay centered, gotta stay concentrated.
Yeah, well, this should hold us over, because this is a pretty great card.
Yeah.
Fight Night 108 on Fox Sports 1? Probably?
Yeah.
Probably all Fox Sports.
Yeah, and then prelims are Fight Pass and Fox Sports 2.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
As well.
So, that is Cub Swanson versus Artem Lobov. Lobov coming off of a great fight with Ishihara and all of the momentum in the world with Conor McGregor just talking you up and in your corner.
Yeah, I think that's probably the only reason he got the main event slot here.
Yeah.
Because Ishihara's a good fighter, but that's the only decent guy he's beaten. And with a 2-fight win streak, to get a top 5 guy in Swanson.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Coming off of a crazy fight of the year contender with Doo-Ho Choi.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
UFC
Should have been fight of the year.
That was amazing.
Just insane. Hell of a performance by both of them.
But Swanson was landing so many amazing, perfect shots. I don't know if I was more impressed with Swanson or Choi's chin.
Yeah, honestly, it was like the Korean super zombie boy.
Yeah, it was perfect and crazy amount of damage taken by Choi with really no effect.
And Swanson too. He got rocked a couple times there. Bit down and kept swinging.
And that output that he was throwing, not even close to the output that Lobov was able to put on Ishihara. So
that's probably the biggest X factor for this fight.
I think so too, especially because Lobov threw so much less, and he was tired by the third round, and Swanson didn't show any kind of gassing.
Well, he didn't really show any gassing until he got rocked by the one solid shot that he got hit with the whole fight.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, Ishihara, can't take anything away from him. He was getting a few knockouts here and there himself.
Yeah, he was doing pretty well. I think he had 2 or 3 straight going into that early knockouts. But coming into this fight, he didn't seem to really have a strategy.
Yeah.
He was kind of just winging it, waiting for an opening. But Lobov was disciplined enough to not give him that.
Maybe you underestimated him, because coming into that fight, Lobov was 13-12.
Yeah, true. And I remember Ishihara being a big favorite, minus 300 or something like that.
Yeah, it was about that. So, I'm hearing a lot of hype behind Lobov. I know our pal Tony is behind Lobov, but
true.
I mean, can you blame him? He's the most McGregor guy I've ever spoken with in my life.
SBG, baby.
Yeah. Which Lobov, I will give him, he was way more precise than I thought he would be when we look back at that fight again.
It's true. He worked with quick hands early. Mm-hmm. I mean, they slowed down a little bit later, but
they were landing.
It's understandable. He was still landing good shots. Had some decent power behind him. Really used all of his length well. And one thing that I think is a little interesting is how the UFC is taking prospects and pairing them with fairly high-ranked veterans, with Moicano and Stevens and Swanson and Lobov. Is that going to be a new trend that Sean Shelby starts to implement? Kind of throw these guys into the deep end and either try to clear out some of these veterans to make waves for younger fighters, or
stop these younger fighters in their tracks and show where they're really at right away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you kind of see it happening more and more.
And it kind of feels Moicano stepped up for the Stevens fight.
For sure.
And I fully expect Lobov to be prepared for Swanson, because he's at a good gym for that, but feels very feels like you're throwing the kid into the deep end right now.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about accuracy from Lobov, the amount of crazy things that actually were landing perfectly for Swanson in that last
I know.
fight, it's really hard to go against him going into this.
I think he has a top 5 striking accuracy rate for the flyweight or the featherweight division. I mean, he landed 54% of his punches against Choi, and it's not like Choi is just standing right in front of him either.
Yeah, they were both going wild and moving around, and
for those that don't know, over 50% is pretty dang good.
That's ridiculous. And when it comes to, I think Swanson has way more weapons too, because he was throwing all kinds of different kinds of shots, using way more kicks, and
I think the most helpful thing for him is how he moves.
Yep.
How he moves his head. He never stays on the center line. He's always chaining together combinations when sometimes you'll expect him to just throw he throws 1-2 and then does a cartwheel head kick.
Yep. Yeah, where Lobov would just kind of try and land one quick, accurate strike, maybe a 1-2. And then,
or do leg kick straight left or something.
But I also liked Swanson's footwork, and he had much faster and quicker footwork than anyone Lobov has faced in the times that we've seen him.
It's very true.
In UFC.
And, I mean, Lobov has also had a lot of problems with wrestlers. Before his last 2 wins, he had been taken down almost 10 times between those 2 fights. Ryan Hall, who's an elite grappler, was able to just cling onto him and hold him for the entire fight.
True. Yeah, and I expect this to be mostly on the feet, but Swanson definitely could take him down, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we saw him get on top against Choi a couple times. Yeah. And he has a lot of weapons in his disposal.
Yeah, I think Lobov's going to be relying a little bit too much on just landing perfect shots, and when it doesn't come together for him, Swanson's going to take over.
I think another one of the biggest factors is how does he react to the spotlight. I mean, I don't think he'll have a problem being, the kind of confidence he's shown and the people around him.
Yeah.
But some guys, you're facing the number 4 guy in the world, and he's there for a reason. And I think that Swanson will sit and brawl with him for a while. I think it'll be an exciting fight, but I see it's a lot more likely that Swanson wins. I don't think the odds should be as wide. I know we've talked about that a few times.
It's about a -5 something for
675.
Right yeah, that's
that was just on sports betting. It's different other places, but
all over the place. But
I don't think it should be that wide, but I see why.
Yeah, we always talk about more ways to win the fight. Swanson definitely has that.
For sure. Definitely sees. How do you see it ending?
With a 5-round fight, I think it'll end up being a 5th round, where I don't think Cub actually knocks him out. But I think a 5th round, Lobov finally gasses from just getting handily beat, and then finally just Swanson gets him down and TKOs him.
I totally get that. I kind of think it's gonna be fairly close through the first 2 rounds.
Yeah,
They'll be back and forth, but in the 3rd, Lobov is gonna try to maintain that pace because he's gonna see that Cub is still fine. He's still running around and still doing the same stuff, and he's gonna try to keep up with that, but he can't. Mm-hmm. And he's gonna gas near the end of the 3rd and either get finished sometime during the 3rd with just, pure volume by Cub and eventually puts him on the ground and finishes him. Or early 4th.
Yeah, pretty much the exact same path to how it's going to happen. I just think it'll take a little bit longer.
Yeah. I think Lobov, his best hope is to clip him.
Yeah, one of those accurate strikes to have a little bit more power than they had against Ishihara and put him out.
But also, this is one of those things where you cannot hunt for that. We rewatched the Mike Perry Juban fight leading up to this, and there was times where Perry caught Juban, and you could see him the whole next round hunting just with his right hand, looking for that perfect shot. But that's not how you win fights.
Yeah, that's you're putting everything on landing that shot, and then if you don't, oh, by the way, all of a sudden that fight's over and you lost. And
yeah.
I think some guys don't even realize it's happening because you're just so focused in on landing that big shot.
True. Also, this is one of those where it seems like Lobov hasn't really faced anyone like Cub, so there is that chance where he steps up and makes it a brawl, kind of like Troy did.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think he has the gas tank to do that, but you kind of hope for it, you know?
Yeah. And one last, plus for Cub that sold me on him for this is he was eating some pretty huge shots from Choi.
Yeah,
and
he was.
I think that proved his chin to be just fine for whatever Lobov has to throw at him, unless it's something completely wild and super powerful.
And even when he got rocked those couple times, he still, found a way to recover.
Yep.
And even counter that and land some stuff, so definitely going to be a fun main event. An equally fun fight, we hope. Ali Akinta and Diego Sanchez.
Akinta coming back after almost a full exact 2 years off.
Yep. He pursued real estate and rehabbing a knee injury and, trying to some of these guys. Yeah. Some of these guys need to take a little time off to really appreciate what they're doing.
And I mean, a 12-3-1 record's pretty great, especially when a lot of it's been in the UFC.
Yeah. Hopefully that's what Rumble does.
Yeah.
He leaves for a little bit, comes back, but yeah, and everything that he's saying, he feels as good as he ever has. And I mean, what kind of welcome back fight? A slugfest with Diego Sanchez. Can't do too much better than that.
And you gotta love Diego Sanchez as anybody that likes the UFC. Guy's definitely a legend.
If you've never seen it, you have to watch Diego Sanchez against Gilbert Melendez.
Oh,
one of the most exciting fights you'll ever see.
Which almost every Sanchez fight's pretty damn exciting, but that fight in particular for sure. I know Iaquinta said he was looking up to Sanchez when he first started in the fight game.
Can't blame him.
So that's cool for him to be able to fight him. I think this is, like he said, a good time for him to fight him. That was on Bleacher Report or something like that.
UFC.com.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, and Iaquinta is always a guy he's game, he's always down to brawl. You can look at probably more the last minute of his fight with Jorge Masvidal. It was more of a chess match up until then, but, when push came to shove, he came throwing.
Which, you gotta give him credit, Masvidal really messed him up the first round and early second. Yeah. And he was able to come back and really give Masvidal all he could handle.
Yeah, he really he used his feints well and was able to find ways into the pocket when Masvidal was really using the extent of his reach. It's something I really like about Iaquinta's game, is that he picks his shots intelligently and doesn't just throw wild, but this is one of those fights that'll test that.
Yeah, for sure, because if there's somebody that fits that description, it's Diego. And Iaquinta, 2 years, ring rust is a real thing.
It's true.
And Diego Sanchez, I gotta tell you, I've all day today I've been feeling the rumblies of the feels for Diego Sanchez getting the upset.
Oh, I know you have.
I think I have to stick with it, man.
Wow.
It's against judgment, but this time I'm going with the gut.
I'll give you this. The odds mislead you.
They do.
This fight is going to be incredibly close.
Yeah.
I see Sanchez stealing a round early, probably second round. But I feel like Iaquinta just has too many weapons, and his ability to use his range too, and find his ways into the pocket and being able to get out before getting hit. I think that's enough for him to win on the scorecards.
Yeah, I'm seeing it in my head over and over that Iaquinta tries that early, but Sanchez has answers for him and keeps laying into the head and the body. Not enough to put him away, but enough to hurt him and take control of the fight and win by late TKO or a decision.
Respect.
I'm going to stick with it. Sorry, it's probably a bad idea.
I don't like you, but I respect you.
And you don't respect me.
And I don't respect you. That's my line, asshole.
Here's an interesting, tough fight to pick. It's
it's so intriguing because they're both so wildly inconsistent.
Yeah, I would say St. Preux is
very talented, but very inconsistent.
More gradually declining, and De Lima is very slowly seems to be improving his game.
Well, I think the biggest factor with St. Preux is the fact that he's actually fighting good fighters.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas, he beat Rafael Cavalcante, who's not in the UFC anymore.
Yeah.
He beat... he did beat someone decent. Yeah, Shogun. But I think that was more...
it was surviving an onslaught and then landing a counter.
That was also... Yeah, that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And he beat Patrick Cummins, who, if he doesn't take you down, then he doesn't really know what he's going to do.
Yeah. I mean, you can't give him too much credit for the Blachowicz win because Blachowicz hurt him, could have finished him, but then just turtled and let Cummins win.
I still haven't seen that fight. I kind of want to. I want to see that, but
it's good for a chuckle.
Yeah, definitely. I don't need to see the rest of the fight because I know it's going to be boring. But
De Lima, man, the biggest question mark for him is the gas tank.
Yeah, because he has all the talent in the world.
For sure.
Like he's a guy that you put him against Cormier, John Jones, for a good 2 minutes, he's going to give him hell.
Yeah, he is.
But
he's got the power.
After that,
he's got the submission ability.
Yeah, his grappling is world class.
It's you're right, about 2 minutes, and then the gas tank, which
I thought we were going to see a little more of that against Jeremy Kimball. Kimball was moving a lot, and he was going to make him chase him around, but then he tripped and De Lima landed one shot on the temple, and that was it.
Yeah. It would have been interesting because I liked before that slip and then opportunity for the right hand. De Lima was approaching that with more patience.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to see how far he would be able to go without gassing as visibly.
He was still throwing a lot into his shots, especially his leg kicks.
For sure.
But, he was picking them. He was picking his shots and not just going crazy and chasing them around.
Yeah, more than the last couple fights.
One thing that we noticed about St. Preux, especially in his last fight with Uzdemir,
yes,
was that whenever he was faced with pressure or adversity, he kind of just he didn't know how to react. He panicked and really didn't know how to react.
Yeah.
It was like when a guy put pressure on him, he try and back up to the cage and run instead of having a plan to counter that. Or
Uzdemir would start a combination and he would just kind of stiffen up and kind of just be ready to eat it, not try and do anything defensively. Not
even block it or find a way to get him to change his strategy and change or start being more aggressive.
But then that made us realize and note his crazy chin, because besides Manua, you see his chin get snapped so many times a fight, and he just doesn't buckle. Except for one.
And John Jones didn't finish him. It kind of seemed like he had opportunities, but he really wanted to take that time to work on
his game.
Everything with a real fight.
Yeah.
Really get the full experience than it was about just finishing him.
Because it had been so long.
And one thing, and with OSP, it's hard to get behind him because he doesn't throw a lot. especially, like, the only times he ever does is if you're not doing anything.
Right. Which was my hardest part about the pick in this fight, is I think DeLima finishes him in the first round, or is too tired, and then OSP can just do his thing because DeLima is too tired to do anything.
Yeah.
And that's what OSP needs for offense.
Also, I wonder how much OSP has, because in the second round of the last fight, he had didn't do much at all in the first round. Early second, it was still like the same, and then like halfway through, he started to see Uzdemir slow down, and he put together a few good combinations. Had like a minute where he was, starting to show like an actual intelligent fighter, and then he just kind of went right back to what he was doing. And and even with Uzdemir not doing that much, he's still like you still let him win, basically.
Yeah,
it's frustrating.
I think he has a gas tank issue against any other fighter, but there's so many X factors in this fight that it's very tough to pick who you're taking. Because
it's honestly, this just came to me. It kind of reminds me of Lobov and Ishihara, where it's like Ishihara like has a lot of talent, has a lot of power, but he just kind of stayed out the outside, like didn't really do a whole lot, and just ate some shots. And Lobov was able to just kind of just pick his shots, like take his time, pick his shots.
Because Ishihara just wouldn't throw, which is exactly how OSP has approached his last few fights.
And it kind of feels that way to me,
except that the Lobov in this can knock his head off.
Yeah.
Lima has some wicked power.
Yes, he does.
And I think
incredible power
that's why,
in everything he throws.
I think that's why he gasses, because he puts it all in those shots, everything.
Yeah. And also, I feel like this fight, it could go OSP's way, especially if it gets past like 3 minutes into the first round.
Yeah, I think we're going to agree the first 3 minutes decides the fight.
And also, if it does get past that and DeLima isn't gassed, I will be amazed.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And he'll actually be a contender in the light heavyweight division.
Definitely.
But everything in my gut is telling me that DeLima, like, punches his way into the pocket, is able to clinch him up, work in some knees and stuff, get him to the ground, and grind him out and find a submission. Basically just break OSP early, because he doesn't really have a ton of willpower.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the kind of guy where he gets on top, he starts throwing stuff, gives up his back, rear naked choke, or something similar. Kind of like Hester did.
Yeah.
Took some shots. As soon as he got the triangle into position, he just tapped and got out of there.
I definitely see it, and I think almost that same situation will happen, but OSP will do just enough to survive, and DeLima will put everything he has into trying to finish it, and OSP will survive and take rounds 2 and 3 and end up with the decision victory. It hurts me to say.
Hope not.
And it's hard. It's hard.
I can see that exact thing happening.
It's going to be one of those two things, honestly, with this fight, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
One factor,
I've been kind of proud of us the last few cards, because almost every single fight has gone either exactly how we think it is going to happen or what we think the alternative is.
Yeah, we've always given how it's going to happen, given which fighter wins, how they will win.
The perfect example is the Andrew Sanchez Anthony Smith fight.
For sure.
Where Sanchez was winning the first 2 rounds,
the way we
landing more volume, grinding him out on the ground, but then Smith did the only way like he could win, and he got that knockout.
Yep.
Didn't expect Sanchez to gas as much as he did.
Yeah.
But I mean, with how much effort he had to put into chaining takedowns, I understand why.
Smith had come a long way with his wrestling defense, and that factored in. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely a frustrating and interesting fight. Definitely pay attention for that first round. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's hard to take St. Preux after the last 3 performances, but I think this is his lucky break.
I hope that's not just me, like, hating him for how he's performed recently.
Oh, no, you understand what he's done right and wrong and what'll get him into trouble in this fight.
And I just know, like, I'm gonna be wrong on that fight because I'm, like, so determined that DeLima's gonna get it. It's just gonna frustrate me.
Yeah, it's
but
how this game goes.
No, actually, it's normally a fight that I don't expect to go that way at all. And it's like, oh, well, like Wineland knocks out Dodson right here. Like that, I'd be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Because Dodson's never been knocked out.
All right.
We talked about him being quicker than Wineland, and yep.
And yeah, having as much or more power and precision.
No, Wineland outlands him by 300.
Oh man!
But no, in all seriousness, Dodson is so fast and
Yeah,
come so far, especially at 135.
his confidence is justified.
And gotta love Wineland, man. He's a brawler. He's knocked out a lot of guys in epic fashion.
He's been in the game a long time, and he's still finding ways to win against solid fighters. Mm-hmm. But I think Dodson's just a notch above, especially Wineland. Like you could see a little bit of that. I want to say ring rust, but it's more like just mold. Like he's been in there for so long,
getting up there.
You know,
yeah.
He's gonna slow down soon enough.
I think.
And I also thought Dodson beat Lineker, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
It was really close. It could have gone either way, but I thought that Dodson won that fight, so I can't count that as like a downside to him.
Yeah, and I think this fight's down to just on the feet, the significant speed advantage for Dodson, and I think the wrestling advantage is staggering for Dodson.
Oh, definitely. He was able to roll with Mighty Mouse fairly well. Yeah. Not great, especially when he started to gas a little bit.
But better than most.
Yeah, better than most.
And I think that's the well-roundedness he needs against Wineland, and he takes this one easy.
One thing that's interesting, though, is Wineland is going to have a significant reach advantage and height advantage. Also, Wineland did... there was a quote that Wineland brought up about that, like, how are you going to deal with, like, Dodson's speed or whatever? Well, he's going to have to deal with my power. Well, he did just go 5 rounds with John Lineker and not get knocked out.
Yeah.
So...
And I think Lineker's got a better knockout track record than you, sorry, Wineland.
Yeah, and his speed is just... That's the difference. That's why he doesn't get knocked out.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say reach is nice, but if you can't touch him because he's moving, I mean, it's not going to work out.
And I'm definitely going to bring that same thing up a little later in this card.
Oh, yeah.
With another very short person.
Yes. But for Wineland, I would say that his only chance is to clip Dodson and have him hurt and get on top and finish it. But
he's like the gatekeeper to the top 10.
Yeah,
his prime is past him, but he's still a very good fighter. And I think this will be fun, especially for the first round or two.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like Dodson's going to catch him a little later as he starts to just slow down slightly.
Yeah, and I think Dodson could just take him down and, have an easy fight. But I think Dodson wants to keep it on the feet.
Yeah,
make it flashy. He likes to make flash. So I think the first round will be a lot of fireworks. It'll be an enjoyable fight.
Definitely.
How about Joe Lozon and Stevie Ray?
This one's a little, it's like sneaky good. Mm-hmm. Ray is an up-and-comer, fighting out of, I want to say he's from, Scotland. Somewhere in the United Kingdom.
Wherever, because it was against Ross Pearson, right?
Yeah, they fought in England.
And they said that he was from near there.
At
least close enough. So it could be anywhere out there.
And close enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's an interesting prospect. His last loss was Alan Patrick. I think that was his only loss since he joined the UFC out of 4 or 5 fights. Mm-hmm. But and Lozon, he's getting up in age, but he's still done very well.
Yeah, the Jim Miller win was very impressive.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I'm trying to think who it was that beat him, and I was surprised by it. No.
No, he lost to Jim Miller.
I confused them.
Oh,
the Diego Sanchez win was impressive and surprising to me.
Yes,
And then
exactly.
Jim Miller was the one that beat him. And he had a good fight with Held. And, I mean, we just looked at Held versus Sanchez, and he struggled with Sanchez too. But the way that Stevie Ray fought with Ross Pearson in his last fight, I think that's going to pretty much be what he needs to do for Lozon.
The only thing is whether Ray can stay on his feet, because the biggest problem he had with Patrick was strength and takedown defense. Because Patrick will always find a way to get him down or hold him down. And Ray is more of he likes to stay on the feet, light you up from the outside with a lot of kicks, a lot of volume with his kicks. Well, I wouldn't say a lot of volume, but
enough to keep you away.
Yeah.
And win the rounds. And that's why I say the way he fought Pearson is the way he needs to fight Lozon.
Yes.
Because to keep Lozon from getting him down, he has to fight. Because keeping Lozon from getting him down, he was doing the same thing just to keep Pearson from getting inside the pocket.
Exactly.
But if Lozon gets him down, his submission ability is, I think, going to be a problem for Ray.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of the biggest X factor, is whether or not Ray can stay on the feet. You're right.
This is one of those, like, Lozon has been trading wins and losses for the last, I think, 7 fights. Mm-hmm. And Ray, having, like, he just bounced back, got a win. Now it's kind of like, where are you? It's basically where are you at in the division right now?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, can Lozon actually make a push into the top 15? Or can Ray make a push to get a top 15 opponent?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think either of these guys are going to be elite or are elite right now.
Yeah.
But I'm leaning towards Ray. I think he has more ways to win. I think he's going to have a little speed advantage. And despite their similar size, Ray's kicks will make a big difference in establishing range.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ray will be able to do everything he needs to keep Lozon to the outside. When Lozon does cut him off and get him clinched up against the cage, he showed good takedown defense against Pearson.
Yeah.
And I think Lozon would be a little bit better, but I think he'll do fine enough.
I think, I don't think he's as strong as Patrick, so
yeah,
that'll play a factor. But I think one of the biggest X factors for this is how is Ray going to cope with Lozon's presumably higher pressure compared to Ross Pearson's more of a counterpuncher.
Yeah.
He likes to stand and trade. And it was hard for him to really push the pace to chase Ray around. But Lozon has never really had a problem with that. He's always looking to try and finish fights and make it exciting. So it's going to be, can Ray be able to run and still land and avoid those big flurries, or whether they get into a brawl and make it a slop fest.
Yeah, because Pearson came forward slow enough that Ray was able to just slowly back up, land his shots, and still slowly back up.
Yeah.
Lozon's going to be a little bit more pressure. We'll see how he handles it.
And if Lozon gets him down, has he worked enough on his ground game to defend submissions and avoid heavy ground and pound and able to find ways to get back to his feet? I'm interested to see.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ray has what it takes, and it'll end up being a decision.
I agree.
Based on his volume of landing more, higher percentage, and keeping Lozon from doing what he wants to do.
I think Lozon has a better chance of getting a finish if he wins.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but I agree. I think Ray has just a comfortable advantage here. Not
Yeah.
Slight, but not like, not a big one, just kind of like, just enough.
Yeah, this card is full of definitely not toss-up fights.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards where it's like we immediately go to like, oh, that guy's gonna win, that guy's gonna win. That one's kind of tough, but that guy's gonna win. But this card is very like really making us work for this.
I don't know if there's maybe.
There aren't very many gimme fights, despite the odds.
Almost all but 2 or 3 fights that I can very easily see, either one of these guys winning in the way that we described.
Exactly.
So let's move on to Jake Ellenberger and Mike Perry. Ellenberger, after great win against Matt Brown, and then a weird foot stuck in the cage, and then getting lit up, and weird stoppage with Masvidal, where he was losing the fight.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the defense of that argument, the controversy, Masvidal was clearly winning the fight. Ellenberger looked kind of slow and confused. He didn't really know exactly how to approach it.
Yeah.
And he was gonna pay regardless. It was kind of inevitable that he was gonna get finished. So that's probably why he didn't throw too much of a fit, because
he knew
he lost because his foot got caught in the cage, but it's like he was already getting rocked and getting lit up.
And then Mike Perry, after putting on a good couple performances and then having Alan Jouban just really be impressive, and
he kind of picked him apart.
Yeah.
It felt like, Perry rocked him early in the first round, or midway through the first round.
Yeah.
And seemed to be chasing that knockout. And Jouban survived, recovered, was able to land some shots and stick and move. And then in the second round, it seemed like Perry thought, like, he's still rocked, I gotta go after him. He got a very, knockout mindset, which he was just chasing that, waiting for that right hand, trying to find him. But that's not how you win a decision.
Yeah, I think it was almost lucky for Jouban that Perry kind of hurt him and got into that mindset, because it let Jouban just set up his own things. He knew he was just going for a power shot, so he could come in, land, get out, let Perry miss or not throw at all, and then just keep winning the fight.
Because, early in the fight, Perry was being smart about it. They were kind of trading exchanges, throwing 1-2s here and there, and really battling back and forth until he rocked him. And then the second round, with Perry chasing him, he's landing, body kick, circle, 1-2, circle. And one of those 1-2s, he caught him with a straight left that put Perry down. And it changed the dynamic a little more for that fight.
Yeah, there was a few straight lefts from Jouban in that fight that were just so perfect that you couldn't even blame Perry. But Ellenberger is one thing for him. Even the Perry before, he was just chasing the knockout.
Yeah,
doesn't have the crisp and the Masvidal striking.
Yeah,
that he was facing.
Masvidal is almost in a league of his own with his volume and his precision.
I think this will be a lot closer on the feet than that fight. It'll be a little bit more interesting. It won't be so one-sided.
Yeah, also, I think that Ellenberger will be a lot more comfortable in there than he was, because right away, it was kind of like they weren't doing a lot, and then Ellenberger threw a very slow, poorly timed leg kick, or body kick.
Yeah.
And actually, one thing we noticed that Iaquinta did to Masvidal, he caught some of those body kicks and got a strike or two in. And Masvidal noticed that. You could see him smiling, and he brought that into his own game when he saw that body kick coming. I keep saying leg kick. I used to do this for head kicks too. Any kick
to the head.
Leg kick to the head, yeah.
Oh, well.
But he caught that, and he landed his own body kick, and then 1, 2, 3, just throwing all kinds of strikes, and Ellenberger looked very different for the rest of that fight.
You taking Ellenberger or Perry?
I think I've made a lot of arguments for Perry. Well, haven't made them for him yet. Ellenberger, I want to say he was 2... Wait, we're already there?
Yeah. Well, we got 5 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
We've been at this for a while. This is why I said bottom to top.
Well, this is why we watched... It's because we watched 5 hours of film.
Yeah, and now we got a million things to say about it.
Yeah.
But my main point for this fight was that Ellenberger is 2-6 in his last 8 fights. Mm-hmm. And Mike Perry had 6 first-round knockouts, and all the rest of his other 3 wins were knockouts going into the Juban fight, and he still didn't get put away against a very good striker. And I don't think Ellenberger is as good as Juban was.
Yeah.
I feel like Perry, his power is going to be the difference, because I don't think Ellenberger can take him down. I think Perry will be stronger than him. Mm-hmm. And it's going to frustrate Ellenberger. He's not going to know what to do. He's going to panic a little bit, and Perry's going to find some shots to put him away.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything there. I mean, Ellenberger just doesn't have as crisp of shots as we were seeing from Perry.
Yeah.
And I think Perry's just going to be a little bit more accurate and stun him. And I feel like it's going to be early third that he hurts him. And I don't know if he'll be able to put him away, or it'll end up being ground out to a decision.
Huh.
But
so honestly, I think Ellenberger's going to move a lot early to make him chase him, but he's going to land a shot at some point that'll change the fight, similar to what Masvidal did. But yeah, I'm very, very on Perry's side for this fight.
Silas Latis and Sam Alvey. Smiling Sam is back.
This is the closest fight in the odds that we saw.
Yeah, still is.
I see why.
I
see why, but I totally am on Sam Alvey's side for this.
I don't see why, and
really?
I'm on Sam Alvey's side for this.
I think it's because of Latis's prowess, his reputation, and also his grappling and ground game, whereas Alvey is obviously known for that left hand.
My problem with that is Alvey has had such ease in stopping wrestlers in his last few fights that it's just like, why is it so close?
I think it's because he's been putting together really good game plans.
Yeah.
So you can see the difference between something I brought up a lot is smart fighters and fighters that just think that they are better than you.
Yeah.
Where Alvey, especially against his last fight with Nate Marquardt, you could really see he had a game plan and he stuck to it. He's like, I'm going to make him come to me. I'm not going to force anything to let him counter, and he's just going to 1-2 shots, get out, avoid wrestling, really keep it on the feet and look for that left hand. But in a way that, like, he wasn't going to let Marquardt land a lot of shots against him. He wasn't going to go hunting.
Yeah.
It was really impressive for me.
I think this is, Latis won't be able to do a thing that he wants to do at all.
Yeah, and he's going to get frustrated, and
sloppy.
The only times that he's won recently have been against guys that he could get on their backs.
Yeah.
Like Chris Camozzi.
That's not Sam Alvey, man.
And Alvey, second best takedown defense in the division at 85%.
I've been so impressed with it in the last few fights.
Number 1, Krzysztof Jotko, who demolished Latis in their last fight.
Yeah, and Alvey's going to land a crazy combination and then get on top and TKO him in the early second.
See, I think it's going to be like he's going to throw something sloppy as he's getting back up, straight left hand, and then he's going to flurry to the cage and put him down, put him out.
We're going to go slight speed round. Ortiz versus Moreno.
This is one of the toughest fights on the card for me.
Tough.
Honestly, probably the closest. Ortiz and Moreno are very good prospects in the division, gonna make splashes in the future, but my gut is telling me to go with Moreno because he has more skills overall.
Yeah, he showed good wrestling against Benoit.
Yes, Ryan Benoit.
And some, I wouldn't say like technical, but good striking against him. But I think Ortiz has the technical enough striking to, stand up with him.
Okay.
and the wrestling game to take control.
I think Ortiz has the better wrestling, but at the same time, I think Moreno has better grappling. So I think he'll be able to, even if, well, probably when Ortiz is able to get him down, I think he'll be able to do enough off his back to survive and get up or threaten submissions, something like that. And I think one of the biggest factors in this fight is Moreno's 5-inch reach advantage. He's done really good. Yeah, he's done a very good job of using his 1-2 combinations and his kicks against guys that are a little shorter than him. And I think he's going to pick him apart from the outside. He'll get taken down at some point, but I think it won't be enough for Ortiz to steal it. I'm going to take it a close decision for Moreno.
I'm definitely sticking with Ortiz on a dominant decision.
I knew you were going to pick him.
Yeah. Holtzman, McBride.
This one's a very one-sided.
McBride just didn't.
He looked awful against Nick Lentz.
Yeah,
Holtzman, he didn't show any striking at all, and his only success is grappling submissions. And if he can defend submissions, he has nothing to give.
Which Holtzman can defend takedowns and submissions just fine. And
yeah, he's technical. He's precise.
McBride was so terrible at striking with Lentz, and Holtzman is
somehow still clipped him, but
so Holtzman will be able to take that one just fine.
I think Lentz showed a lot of how to take apart McBride's grappling too, because I think McBride was on top and Lentz found a way to reverse it and finish the fight.
Yeah, I mean McBride's scrambly on the ground, and he had a lot of submissions before this, but
I think Holtzman's going to light him up for 3 rounds.
The combination he tried to throw in the first round with Lentz was so terrible that I'm so confident in that.
Literally, Lentz walked into like a weird wild hook as he was backing up.
Like he was actually just trying to swat away insects that were flying around him. Ponke and Taylor.
Like I said earlier, I was going to talk about small fighters that use their speed to like find ways in and out of range. And Danielle Taylor, that's really the only thing she does well. Mm-hmm. She has a solid overhand right, not elite power, but good power for strawweight. Yeah. And she's been good about finding ways into the pocket. But I think that Ponke is too good all around to lose to a fighter like Taylor.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt. Is well-roundedness would be the difference in this. She'll be able to avoid any huge shots, and there's no way that Taylor outpoints her. Also, the only ways that Ponke has lost at strawweight have been against bigger, bigger fighters. People that can throw her around.
Yeah, and Ponke is a natural atomweight, so is Danielle Taylor.
Yeah.
And I think that'll play a factor, and she'll be able to find the victory.
5-inch height is going to be the difference here.
Yeah, well, also Marina Moroz had a hard time finding that jab, because Taylor moves a lot laterally.
That was a crazy good Ukrainian boxer. This is a well-rounded Ponke.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that goes. I think it'll be a little closer than you think, but
I don't think it's a landslide. I'm just going quicker.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Ponke decision. Taylor could upset it, but should be all right. What about Davis and the debut?
Dandois. I watched a lot on Dandois, works with Misha Tate, very good judoka, grappler, but she has zero striking acumen at all, which I'm sure that's probably all she's working on right now, just to be competent. Mm-hmm. But also, everything I've seen from Alexis Davis lately has been kind of lost and uninspiring.
Yeah, for sure.
McMahon has always found ways to take her down, and she even submitted her on the ground when Davis is more of a grappling talent. My gut is telling me the upset with this one. I'm taking Dandois by submission in the first or second round. First round, yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, I'm committing to it.
Taking Davis, she's going to have the striking ability to get enough points on the feet and then be good enough on the ground to survive any submission attempts. She has only fought twice since the Ronda Rousey judo throw and punch her in the face with the booby shot.
Well, I do want to point out that Dandois' last win went exactly the same way as Ronda beating Alexis Davis.
Way to go.
She went in. Her opponent went in with some hooks, and she grabbed her. Judo throw, punch. Fight's over.
But that was at what, CMMA or something?
Yeah. Also, Dandwa used to be a featherweight, and I think size will play a little bit of a factor. She'll be able to outmuscle her.
Barbarena Proctor. Dude, I don't know.
Landslide.
Why did Proctor come back?
I don't know. He hasn't really... I don't think he was that great or athletically inclined beforehand.
Yeah, we won't
he put on some fun fights, but this is Barbarena. He's way more talented.
This fight deserves more.
Well-rounded.
But don't have time. Sandoval and Schnell.
Two up-and-coming
awesome.
flyweight prospects that are very good and very talented.
They're awesome. I'm just going to say that Sandoval impressed me more than Schnell.
Yeah, Sandoval, longtime Team Alpha Male guy, very good wrestler, had some pretty decent striking, and Schnell uses his reach well. He's game, will take on any fighter, has a little bit of knockout power, they both do, but I'm taking Sandoval in a close decision.
I like the way that Sandoval combined his striking and used it to chain takedowns better than...
Against an Olympic wrestler, too, in his last fight.
Sure. So, Sandoval for sure. Decision. Can't put him away, but decision.
Yeah, close fight. Very good card.
Love the card. That's coming after UFC on Fox 24. That was fantastic.
I think it'll live up to it.
Yeah.
Not with the star power, but with the quality of fights.
It'll definitely keep us our appetite quenched until we get to 211.
And sorry we didn't have a review of the Fox card, but
technical difficulties. It was perfect.
We had a great evaluation, but it just didn't work out.
It was a glitch fest, is what it was. But
we need sponsors so we can afford good equipment.
Yeah, for sure. But enjoy.
Give me your money.
Enjoy the Nashville card. I'm going to enjoy my vacation.
I'm going to enjoy working and going to school and hating you.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you do anyway.
Well, him, not you, the fans, of course.
That's what you do anyway, but I just won't be here for it.
You'll have a beer in your hand.
I'll miss you. I'll miss you guys. And then we'll all reconvene and talk about 211 for weeks.
Yeah.
And we are live from Ben's truck again.
But it's not 3 a.m. this time.
Yet.